Hello, I'm Don with MyChairParts.com. I want to talk with you a little bit today about four-legged bases and old-fashioned mechanisms and worn-out casters and how to fix the casters when they keep on, or how to fix the base when the casters keep on falling out. The first thing I want to talk to you about is the casters, and this one fell out. This is typical. Let me separate this. Let me show you how to separate this. There is a hole here on the side of this part. It's called a bell, and you put within the hole is a screw, and you just unscrew it, and the base will separate from the mechanism. This is the mechanism. The caster fell off a moment ago, and there's no way this is going to be any good at all. This is a little grip ring, I'm going to call it, part that we sell. It has little teeth in it. The teeth actually bite into the wood like this one did. This is a new replacement. It's a little bit smaller. It won't make any difference though. It still won't work. The only way this is going to be any good, or this chair base will be any good, is to fill this hole. Now, you can get a dowel rod, go right down into, glue it in, you cut it off flush, but it won't work because by the time you drill a hole in it, since it's only about 3/8 of an inch thick or 7/16 of an inch thick, when you drill a hole in it to put this in, you've drilled out that entire dowel. So what you have to do is drill a large hole, say an inch in diameter. Get a hardwood dowel if you can find one. Maple is the best. Put it, glue it in, cut it off nice and flush, and then comes the hard part. You need to drill a hole for this, which is 3/8, straight down into the hole. If you veer off just a little bit, 1 degree, the caster will never work. So a good solution, instead of boring a hole and putting it in, is to use this plastic insert. This plastic insert is, or socket, is a 1/16 of an inch, which is not a whole lot larger than this metal part. So you would, with the existing hole, you may find that this goes in just fine. If it doesn't, you'll need a 7/16 drill bit, preferably with a variable speed drill so that you can go slow. If you drill the hole slow, it will follow the existing hole that was made for this part. If you drill it at a high rate of speed, it'll want to create a new hole, and that's just what you don't want to do. So anyhow, go slow, go ahead and bore it out. Then you'll have this that you could put in. You might even want to put some glue around it when you put it in. Certainly take a piece of tape, like masking tape, and put it over this hole so that if you did put glue in there, when you push it down, the glue won't squeeze up into this socket and it'll glue the caster if the caster is already there, and the caster won't work, or if it squeezes in the hole and you didn't put the caster in, you'll never get the caster in because the glue will stop that. So put that in there. Another way to do it, if the glue is not enough or you're concerned that it's not enough, is to take a couple of small nails, and I mean little nails, and just pound them in. Just 2 of them will be enough just to hold it, so it'll get a good grip. So much for casters. Oh, by the way, if this is the old caster, this is the new one. This is worn. It's flat over here. This is round over here. It makes a big difference in the base and in the rest of the chair too. This one is loose. This one is good and tight. Okay, another little problem that people have with the chair bases is that they get loose. I haven't fooled with this one here, but you can see that it's loose. Not only is it loose, but if you can see these screws here, 1, 2, 3, these are not the original screws. The reason that they're here is the original screws, which penetrated down quite a bit, they're long, they should be long, broke under use. If the screw broke off inside the wood, you cannot put another screw down without first removing that screw. Well, that's very difficult to do. It can be done. There is ways to do it, but most of you are not going to work on that. So you would do what this person did and put these screws in at an angle to try to hold it. It does not hold it real well. They do loosen up, but it is what it is. This plate here is called a hub bottom plate. Here's a new one. The big difference between the two is that the hole here is larger, which is not a big deal if this hub were going to be kept, but the hub is not good. It needs to be replaced. So the new hubs are larger, and this hole is too small for this hub. So if this were your chair base, you'd have to get a hub and a bottom plate, which, by the way, comes with all the necessary screws, 2 different sizes. Let's turn this guy over, and what we're looking at here, of course, is a missing screw, but what we're looking at here is called a hub liner. It's a very popular size hub liner. In fact, it's the exact one that one is. It's our number 98. We have specific instructions on our website on how to install a new one. It's not just pounding it in with a hammer. However, since this whole hub is messed up and needs to be replaced, notice that this hub comes with a different kind of a hub liner, and it's already pre-installed, making the job pretty easy. The only thing is, this is a dovetail hub, I might mention, and I know that there are dovetails on these 4 legs. I can tell from the rivets that are on top of the hub top plate. There's a couple of rivets on each side of the screw, and that indicates that it's a hub, that it's a dovetail. The new one doesn't have those rounded over, nice type of rivets. It just has the steel punching up that they with some kind of a machine, spread it out so that it wouldn't come off. But this is a dovetail hub. The further the leg goes in, the tighter it gets. When you replace it, if the legs are loose inside, you need to shim it up, perhaps with some veneer stock, but make sure that the legs are tight. The other thing I can talk to you about is going to be the mechanism. This is an old-fashioned mechanism, as you can see, with two springs. This part, as I mentioned before, is called a bell. You can see that screw that I was talking about before. It's right there. And this particular one has a factory installed washer. It's called a thrust washer. If you can see it, where'd it go? There you go. It has a little tab which slides up and down this keyway. This is the part that prevents the chair, while it's in use, of winding up and winding down. In other words, you start in the morning with it screwed all the way up, and by the end of the day, it's all the way at the bottom. This is the part that causes, if you don't have this part, that's what causes that problem. You will not be able to get if yours is broken, this thrust washer, you won't be able to get it on most of the mechanisms because it won't, there's a stop over here. But you can get one of the plastic ones on. Now like this you can't. What you have to do is cut a slit, cut this thrust washer, take one side, bend it down, the other side up, and you'll be able to fit it on over this 1-inch shaft, and the little part here will go right into the keyway, and you're done. So that's what I could tell you about these mechanisms. I can mention that this particular one is welded in. That's good, because when they get loose, they never quite go back in tight enough. And factory installation is really the best. I hope this helped you out a little bit with what to do when you have some of these old-fashioned parts to fix them up and get them going. If there's any question, just give me a call. I'm as near as your phone. Thank you.